we're a large company and we want to democratize creativity. As I said, we firmly believe in creativity for all. This allows a broader audience to come to understand Photoshop. A lot of people may be aware of Photoshop, but make the assumption that it's too difficult, too big, too hard. And there's absolutely no reason why being creative needs to be hard. So Photoshop Camera is just the way that Adobe is able to show the power of Photoshop and our photography AI to everybody, to as broad a range of people as possible.
All right, the biggest creator of creativity tools on the planet is Adobe. They make all sorts of different applications that help us to be more creative in our businesses and I guess in our daily lives as well. And they've got a brand new one that they have just brought out. It's a very it's an app. There's a bunch of unique stuff about this one that I really want to drill into a little bit. So I thought we'd have a chat today with Michael Stoddart from Adobe to take us through the brand new Adobe Photoshop Camera app. How are you, Michael?
Charlie, great. Thanks for your time. It's good to be here.
Oh, look, good to have you. Like so many people, I've been using Adobe applications of various types in various ways for many, many years now. So I was a little bit surprised when a company that I have known to be providing services and applications for businesses, especially creativity focused businesses, all of a sudden came out with an app that everybody could download for their phone. What's the overall point to begin with?
Well, thanks, Charlie. The overall point is that Adobe believes in creativity for all. That's one of our mission statements. And whilst we've been in this game for a long time, we were part of the invention of desktop publishing last century. Today, we know that everybody wants to be creative, whether you're an individual social media influencer or a CEO of a multinational company. Everybody wants to express themselves in a creative way. And of course, these days, everybody's number one tool for doing most things is your mobile device, your phone. And so we have a number of applications available on mobile phone. And the one we're talking about today, Photoshop Camera, is the latest to enable you to be creative anywhere you want to be.
Michael, there's a lot of different apps around that manipulate photos that we've taken on our smartphones, like Instagram's one of them. Where does Adobe Photoshop Camera start and those other apps stop? I mean, what's the bit that you're doing better than everybody else?
Well, Photoshop Camera is powered by our artificial intelligence. We call it Sensei. We've been in the photography business for a long time, so we know what makes a good photo from the technical side of things. So Photoshop Camera allows you to take a good photo immediately. Right lighting, whether that's a photo of your friends, of food, of a landscape. So it's an AI-powered camera app. But also it has lots of great filters. So we let people be very, very creative and add these filters, which you won't find anywhere. And we have relationships with great creative people. Billie Eilish, for example, is in the release. But where it goes is, of course, you can work in Photoshop Camera, making your own edits, but of course, then you can move it into Photoshop on the iPad or on the phone as well, all the way up to full desktop Photoshop if you want to go there. So you're not limited. Having said that, Photoshop Camera is a great start and it's got everything you probably want to begin with, but you're never going to run out of headroom if you want to get further into photography.
So is this about giving us a taste? Is it about getting us started with something that's quick and accessible, getting us into the Photoshop ecosystem, so to speak, getting us trialing it, and then from there we can grow into a full-fledged application and much deeper manipulation should we choose to?
Well, yes, but don't get me wrong. Photoshop Camera is deep. It's easy. It's fun to get into. But the filters and effects that you can apply can all be adjusted. So if you're looking to move into technical areas of depth of field or saturation or highlight or bokeh lights, all of these are photography terms in a really accessible app that lets you come to grips with them in a easy to get started way. But there's a lot of depth in Photoshop Camera. You should check it out.
Yeah, no, I've been looking at it. It's quite easy as well. I mean, I think that's obviously the goal here too, right? I mean, when we talk about the big, well-known Instagram, I mean, it became popular because it made it easy. Is that the overarching goal here?
Yes, as I said, we've traditionally been associated with creative professionals, but everybody wants to be creative. Everybody is creative, and there's absolutely no reason why being creative has to be hard. In fact, some of the best creativity is with the simplest of tools. So yeah, Photoshop Camera is really easy to get into. It's really powerful, but it also allows you to tell a really good story because it does allow you to do a lot within that same app, and then share it and show everybody what you can do.
So your ultimate goal here, correct me if I'm wrong, is that everybody moves from using the other app that they're using, even in a much smaller way, and they come across the Photoshop Camera and they use that as the primary mechanism to be the creative outlet for their photos on their smartphone. And then they can go back to whatever it is around social platforms that they're using from there once they've manipulated those photos.
Well, yes, they can. We'd like to think that they're going to have so much fun with Photoshop Camera that they'll stay with Photoshop Camera, get more into photography or get more into storytelling through Photoshop Camera. We're going to be releasing new lenses every week. There's a whole lot in there to start with. So they can spend all the time they like in Photoshop Camera. But yeah, we don't limit anybody. If you want to go further into the Photoshop ecosystem, you can go all the way into that. Or of course, you can take your images back out into other applications. But we think you'll have a lot of time in Photoshop Camera and be able to do everything you need to do.
Let's take a step back for a second. The point of all this, you're not actually making any money. It's not a 99-cent app that you're selling on the App Store, right? You're providing it at no charge. So what's the model here? I mean, why do it at all? You're not making money from this.
Well, that's correct. We're a large company and we want to democratize creativity. As I said, we firmly believe in creativity for all. This allows a broader audience to come to understand Photoshop. A lot of people may be aware of Photoshop, but make the assumption that it's too difficult, too big, too hard. And there's absolutely no reason why being creative needs to be hard. So Photoshop Camera is just the way that Adobe is able to show the power of Photoshop and our photography AI to everybody, to as broad a range of people as possible. But in the same way, just simply allow them to get on board. And if they want to grow in that space, we have other options for them. But if you don't, if you just want to be a social media influencer or a photographer, Photoshop Camera will grow with you.
It is interesting as well. I saw through the announcements just over the last couple of days around this AI technology coming into other areas of your business, Creative Cloud, for example. Is it the same AI platform that both services are using here? I mean, is the Adobe Photoshop Camera just sort of another bolt-on to take advantage of the technology in AI that you've already developed?
Yes, we've been in the imaging business for a long time. And so we know what a face is and we know what makes a good photo. So some of that AI technology is in all of our applications. And yes, it's the same AI technology in Photoshop Camera that is in Photoshop Desktop or Photoshop Lightroom, put to different uses, for an example. Our AI, though, always exists on device. So all of these cool techniques that you can do in Photoshop Camera happen on the phone itself, live on the phone. You don't send your photo to us. All the technology happens on the device itself. And so, yes, to answer your question, it's the same AI. We have a deep, rich imaging artificial intelligence because we've been in the game for so very long.
Could we look ahead for a second here? One of the things that is a barrier to entry to really getting the best experience out of something like this is the amount of power that you got on your smartphone. $1,500 phone, up to $2,000 phone, amazing graphical processing ability, those kinds of things. In the future, though, we're looking at cloud solutions with a 5G enablement that allow this kind of thing to happen. Do you know of Adobe working in that particular area? Is that something that, as a business, that you would look to move to? Because I guess as 5G comes in, as a cloud solution becomes able to do the heavy lifting of these photo manipulations, you could move to a $1,000 camera, $500 camera, $1,000 phone, $500 phone, even $100 phone, as long as the lens capture is good, but the manipulation can be done on a server at Adobe.
Yes, we're aware of that, but we fundamentally believe in maintaining the AI on the device. We're not in a game of data capture, and as you say, as devices get more and more powerful and the ability to communicate with that device gets easier, then yes, it's just going to mean that you're able to do things more quickly, and it brings in the collaboration aspect. So once you want to move from your phone to your desktop, now it only takes probably 10 or 20 seconds to get that photo up to the cloud and back to your desktop. It'll be instantaneous with 5G. And it does allow us to continue that move towards mobile devices. We have Photoshop on the iPad. We have Premiere Rush on the phone. These are full functioning video and photo editing tools on a mobile device that a few years ago would have been unthinkable. So as technology improves, Adobe always wants to be able to allow our customers to take advantage of that technology, but you don't require it. You don't have to have the latest of every device in order to use our technology. So yeah, the growth of 5G will allow us to collaborate better amongst our creative community and allow us to continue to move the needle on what you can do on these devices.
You talk about creativity and being able to have it everywhere. My best experience was with Premiere at 33,000 feet, cutting a video for a client between Berlin and London, so I could complete it and upload it from the lounge before flying back to Sydney. That was my little event with creativity and doing it anywhere possible. So look, it's a wonderful world that we're working in around technology, and look, no doubt Adobe Photoshop Camera, the app, is just another extension of that. Michael Stoddart from Adobe, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck with the app, and for everyone, go out and download it and give it a go.
Look, thanks very much for the time, and it's a really cool app. I've been using it a lot, so I look forward to seeing everybody sharing it, and I'll be following you on social media to see what you can do with it.
Fantastic. Thanks, Michael.